BBC London 94.9 FM. I'm Jumoke Fashola. Now, Muslim street artist Mohammed Ali has been adorning the world's urban areas, including a homeless shelter in Hackney, with his own brand of spiritual graffiti. This week, his art took him to the Vatican state, where he's been explaining how his Islamic faith inspires his work and how this influences his relationship with others. Mohammed Ali joins me now live from Vatican State. Good morning, Mohammed.
Morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, how was it? Friday. It was the very first TEDx event they ever held in the Vatican State.
That's right, indeed. It was a surreal experience, to be honest. Absolutely amazing.
TEDx, for people who don't understand its significance, just explain what they are.
It's kind of a concept where people are presenting for 18 minutes revolutionary ideas. It's kind of people with ideas that they want to share, really, wherever it might be, with, it's kind of radical ideas about, their thoughts, and they share that. And we're invited, people organize these events where they pull these speakers together to present to audiences their ideas. So I was asked to kind of be part of this. Globally, they kind of put the word out. There was a theme for this TEDx in the Vatican, which was religious freedom today.
Wow.
And they pulled together different people. Gloria Estefan was presenting about her faith, and all kinds of different really interesting people. And myself, selected from the UK, the only person from the UK, which was...
How did you get selected? Because this sounds like an extraordinary gathering of people.
Yeah, I know.
With no disrespect to you, of course.
They just, got in touch with me about a year ago,
right,
saying we want to do this. And I'm a big fan of the TED concept myself anyway.
Yes.
I presented at a TEDx event before, only in the UK.
Right.
And this one in the Vatican, I thought, what, this makes total sense, in the times that we live in as well. I thought, this has got to be done. So, yeah, I accepted. And the interesting thing was, normally TED events, you'll hear people speaking and presenting, but often what they do have is artists either, performing. So you'll have musicians performing. So they gave me the unique opportunity to speak, while at the same time I was able to paint live on stage as well. So, yeah.
So you were painting live on stage,
yeah,
and speaking at the same time. And what was the core message that you were trying to get across?
I wrote the word freedom in Arabic and in
right, English.
And the whole idea was kind of really understanding one another, kind of freedom, and to free ourselves from the clash, this notion of clash of civilizations that is frequently bandied about. Even the times that we live in now, this is something we need to fight against.
And how was it received? Because, the audience, I know you did live streaming, so you got over 800,000 live stream views, but how many people were actually in the audience?
There was about 1,000 people in the room. It was a massive auditorium. It was a really grand space as well. Everything's grand in Rome, the buildings and the venues.
Yes.
But this auditorium that we had, it was a really, really grand and great. It's something I was really excited to share back. Myself being, the only presenter from Britain, and in fact in the audience, there wasn't, I met a few Brits and I get excited about it, but I felt this is something that we back home in Britain need to know about, need to kind of know that this is happening. There are initiatives out there. There are people in, kind of getting together from people who've come from around the world here. There literally was. I was doing interviews with Brazilian TV channels and Mexican and, you name it. There was it was quite surreal.
And I suppose people might be surprised that a TEDx event of this nature, which looked at religious freedom, was being held in the Vatican State. Was there any people trying to counter this in any way? The idea that, you were there and other people from various religious faiths. When we think about the Vatican State, we think about Catholicism primarily, don't we?
That's right. I think this was seen as a radical move. There's no doubt about that. And the organizers had made a bold step to make this happen. But I think that the majority of people felt this was refreshing at a time when, let's face it, we all know about when the Catholic faith and how the recent kind of problems it's faced. And this is, and with the new Pope as well, we all know he's also been kind of in recent media, for his radical new kind of approach as well. I think this is quite timely in that it's a time where people know there's issues, but it's time for kind of new ways, new means of connecting. And for them to invite myself as a Muslim street artist from the UK, I think it was definitely a radical move.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really warmly received by people. There were people who were emotional in the audience.
And not only you, I mean, you were painting obviously, but you also, I understand, had Cleveland Watkins, who's one of our main jazz singers, if ever there was one in the UK. I mean, he's absolutely superb. Was he actually singing live whilst you were painting live?
No, I wish he was. I've just completed a live event with Cleveland.
Right.
And I was able to take some of the sounds that we collaborated, and I created a soundscape basically while I was painting. So it was a kind of a very multi-sensory experience where I was painting, I was speaking while I was painting as well.
Right.
And I had a soundtrack with Cleveland's jazz vocals were kind of blended together with Gregorian chants.
Wow.
As well as kind of overlay with echoes of the Islamic call for prayer. So I think the soundtrack that I'd created as well, I think that, if I'm honest, if you were to ask me, what was it that really kind of hit people?
Yeah.
I think it was a combination of all the things, but if anything, I think it was the kind of the soundscape that really must have struck people somewhere deep inside, because no one would really have ever heard such a thing as one piece. Yeah.
I would love to hear. That sounds fascinating. It sounds absolutely amazing. Gregorian chant is definitely one of my favorite sounds. And the call to prayer is always interesting, particularly if it's sung really well. And Cleveland is an astonishing artist. So all combined, that'd be fantastic. Exactly. What happened to the painting?
At the moment, I have offered it as a gift to the new Pope.
Oh, right.
And there has been a lot of talk around that. Everyone's talking about, is he going to accept it? When will you give it to him? Will it be officially handed over? So the intention is it's now kind of prepared to be presented as hopefully as a gift for the new Pope. So we're all kind of waiting to see what will happen with that. So
wow.
I hope, it would be very exciting.
Mohammed, it's never boring talking to you. You're always doing something exciting. I want your life. Lovely to talk to you. I mean, finally, just before I let you go, graffiti is seen as this sort of anti-society type art for lots of people. They don't see it as a formal piece of art. You're talking about graffiti in a different way. Do you hope more people will embrace the kind of art you're talking about?
Yes, definitely. I mean, graffiti, we're kind of bogged down, if you like, with graffiti in the modern context. The walls of Pompeii in Italy, where ancient graffiti existed. The underground catacomb tunnel networks in Rome. Again, ancient graffiti inscriptions covered, the walls underground. So actually, if we kind of step aside from the mindless scrawls that we associate graffiti with, of the New York subways or inner city London streets where Shoreditch or whatever we might see, let's kind of take it right back. And mankind has forever carved his message and told his story and said something in the public space. So actually, I think that we need to kind of look at the broader context and just step out, and we'll see that it's an essential part of human development.
But you're not advocating that people go and scroll on walls.
Absolutely not. No, what I am saying is that let's not deny that this desire for us to communicate in public spaces and connect with people and paint on people's walls with permission, of course, I hope, for those that are listening.
Mohammed, great to speak to you. We'll leave it there. Safe journey back. Always good to hear from you. Mohammed Ali, telling us or sharing his experience of being at the first ever TEDx event, which was held in the Vatican City. So it's the first ever, the first one ever held in the Vatican state. BBC London 94.9 FM. I'm Jumoke Fashola.